All right. Hello, hello, and welcome to Project Zero. We're here to hear the journeys from some of the best project managers in the game. My name is Alex Tuck, and I'm the host, and I'm here with expert project manager, a very good friend, and founder of J Caresse Consulting, Jessica Caresse White. Welcome to the podcast, Jess.
Thanks, Alex. I'm happy to be here.
So, how are you holding up with the South Florida spring right now?
There's no such thing as spring in South Florida. It goes from winter, which is quite pleasant, to brutality heat. So today is 90 degrees, but it feels like 103, and I'm wearing a blazer. So,
Hopefully, you have the AC on. When's the last time you got out for a round of golf here?
oh, I'm actually going to play golf tomorrow. We're going to play a scramble. Yeah. And then
Nice.
I played last week, Thursday. I played in a little tournament.
Oh, nice. How'd it go?
It went
Did you
really
make fun?
well. It went really well. It was really hot though.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very hot. Yeah.
I imagine. We don't have to worry about that in Vermont. Like our hot is like 75 degrees. So
Yeah, but your winters are pretty.
yeah, they're pretty horrible.
Yes.
They're pretty bad. All right, cool. We could talk about weather all day being in Florida and Vermont, but let's get into it, right? We're here to talk project management. So just to give everyone, all the listeners an idea, can you tell us like how you got into project management? Where did it all start? Like, how did you know you were going to be a project manager, in your career?
Alex, I did not know I was gonna be a project manager. Fell into it. Like, it was a complete accident. Like, my career aspirations was fashion design. I wanted to be a makeup artist. Like, I wanted to be whatever you see on these people on social media. But my father was like, this was back what? 2008 when you got to figure out which college to go to. So that's like, you're not going to make money. I'm like, yes, I will, dad. I applied to FIT. I got accepted. But there's a moment of truth that I had the FIT acceptance and then I had Stony Brook University acceptance. Fashion or pre-med. The dad telling me you're not going to make money. Whatever, dad. Fine, I'll do the pre-med. So I go to Stony Brook, fine. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a doctor. All right. Like my dad, I'm going to be a doctor. All right, guys. You're a doctor or a lawyer or banker or whatever. So, I do all the pre-meds, but like I was always still tight. Like I always had a pull for business. I always wanted to understand business. So it's economics pre-med. And I had some art classes in there because I can't ditch the art. One day I'll be a fashion designer. Okay. So, so I do, all the biology, chemistry, physiology, all the processes, process. That's what pre-med is. Process, math, memorize it, to hammer it into your head. And that's what economics is too. Macroeconomics, microeconomics, cycles, processes, and you have human behavior. Bam, bam, bam. That was my training ground, right? Year 3, I do all my sciences. I pull out. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I literally got an interview for like Howard Medical School. I was like, this is real. I'm not going to medical school. I want to live life. So then I quickly pivot. I studied and take my GMAT, and then I got accepted into like FIU University, their Masters of Science and Finance program. And then there, I did like this whole career assessment thing within my program, and I had like 5 top choices. Well, I was an investment banker. I was like, yeah, all I care about is money anyway, so let me be an investment banker. So this was 2012, right? Project management, management consulting, and then one other probably more. So I was like, you know what? Let's see which one works. For some reason, I became obsessed with McKinsey, and then I happened to get an internship, and then that's how I wound up doing project management, like just random things that happen.
Love that. Love that. So you had a lot of stuff that happened in your education and in your childhood that like drove you towards that direction. But then you really, as a career wise, like you started in project management. Like every consultant's a project manager, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did y'all have formal project managers at McKinsey or was that just part of the role?
It was like an interesting thing because I was brought in as an intern and I was brought in to do like analytics work. So this was before you had all these BI, blah, 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 blah. So this was still Excel. So when you were a financial analyst, because I was like researching all the job descriptions, the type of skills that you need, Like, you know, SQL, you need to do pivot tables, you need to do ad hoc reporting. That's what they said, ad hoc reporting, right? So like those are the type of things I was looking into. And so like I got into McKinsey. And so I was serving like that function as like a BI reporting early analyst, like, you know, doing number crunching. And then I found like flaws, like numbers didn't make sense to me. Cause I'm like, how can you like have this amount of scope of something, but this is your expenditures in this category? It just didn't align. So I'm like, how are these systems tied together? I'm like, where is this flowing from? Oh, it's flowing here, here, here. Okay, so what's the translation between here and here? You know, just from inquiry, I'm like, these numbers aren't matching. So it's my finance brain, I'm like, it's not matching. I mean, it's a match, you know? So then you have the pre-med overlay, right? So I'm like, let me break down these processes. How is this stuff moving, you know? And then that got me into like understanding a bit better system architecture and then project management. So you guys can update the systems right. Like you got to make it work.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That's a really good segue, right? So you started off at McKinsey. We're working data analytics. Talk me through how, like that first project, right? That project zero for you, where you figured out, okay, I'm not just a data analyst that's sort of doing project management, but like, hey, this is how to be a project manager and drive stuff. Like, do you have one of those stories
Yeah.
that one project that you figured things out?
Yeah. 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 So a little quick disclaimer about me. Like I have a thing where I just do a lot of stuff and I can't quite put words to it. I just have a vision in my head and I work towards it. Right. So I guess that's the artist thing. And so, like, I had all my methodologies of just working with people. I'm like, you just got to do this. Just, you know, just kind of act like this, say this, put it on paper like this, just do this. And I don't know, it works, right? That's how I was operating. And then I was working at Hitachi Solutions doing Microsoft implementation. And for whatever reason, people just like to give me horrible projects. I don't know why. Whatever. So there was this one project. It was a really well known across the whole department how it sucks. There was 2 project managers that just didn't make the cut, whatever, they left the company, so they're like, "Oh, let's give it to Jessica," and I'm like, Sure." I'm always, you know, I'm a team player, whatever, I'll take the horrible project. So this project was supposed to be just like a simple ground to cloud migration and a CRM upgrade from, you know, so they were going from on-prem to in the cloud with Microsoft Dynamics, and then they had some Azure. So that project was supposed to be like a year and a half and $2 million. When I got it, it was already at 4. And like the first meeting I had, they were trying to go over their data migration strategy. I'm like, okay, where's the plan, guys? Alex, there was no plan. There was no requirement. There was nothing related to what are you moving? There was nothing. There was nothing. I'm like, how are you guys having all these meetings talking about what? What are you talking about? What documentation? Like, what are you doing? You're just talking in I don't like talking in circles. Like, it makes me go crazy, man. Like, you gotta straighten this stuff out. So I'm like, we're pausing all these meetings. Let's do some requirement sessions because I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, you know. So we got our requirements. We, you know, finally had some type of baseline plan. And they were doing UAT at the same time. Like, what? How are you doing UAT at the same time when nothing's built? You know, so it's like I had to unweave the nonsense of just you know, when you do the same thing over and over and over. So, and then build up morale, right? Because you can't change if people are like, you know, oh, sorry, F this, you know, like that's the type of projects like people don't care about their work. They're done with it. They want to quit. Like that's the type of teams I inherited. And I'm like, no, guys, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So it was that project. I brought it home within a year. It ended up turning $6 million, but it was grossly under scope. It should have been a multi-year project, cramming it into a year so that I don't have to ask the CIO for any more money. So with that project, I'm like, I'm a good project manager.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. What was the biggest like failure, big blow up that happened when you were there? Like, what was the
Oh
big thing
my
you learned from?
god. I think it's what really grinded my gears and why I started my consulting firm because it's the sales to delivery process is shit. These people, they have like the way how they do their financial modeling for some of these consulting firms, it makes no sense. So then you rush the sales cycle, you overlook what the customer really needs. These assholes say yes, 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 right? They sign a contract grossly under scope for what the customer really needs. And then I have to fix it because they messed up. And then I have to deal with the angry customer and be like, sorry, they were assholes. They should have told you this, but they didn't. So that's why I started my consulting firm. I'm literally in the process of doing the same thing for somebody I met locally who's a friend of mine now. She has a law firm helping old people, right? She was on this website called Clio. She wanted to go over to Leap because they were marketing this AI stuff.
Yep.
She did the migration. You know what? We literally had a call with the customer success manager yesterday with Leap. He was like, yeah, read the fine print of your contract. If you know your customers, lawyers, they're just trying to be in court helping people. Like, they're not technical people. Why would you have a sales process like that? It really makes me so mad, Alex, because this happened yesterday.
Oh my God. That is so crazy. Oh. Is there anything that surprised you about how you handled any of those challenges during that Hitachi project? Like anything where you were like, oh wow, like I'm glad I'm a good PM. Like I figured out how to be a good PM because like this thing clicked for me.
You know what, Alex? I would say those challenging situations actually just kind of highlighted my own natural abilities. Because nobody told me. Nobody was like, yeah, you should do this. I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. They're like, well, there's a difficult situation because of this. I'm like, that's cool, but what do I gotta do next? It
Yeah.
was a hard situation because the client was so mad and the technical components of this ground to cloud migration. Like, this is an insurance company that the largest, like one of the largest insurance companies in Canada, bro. And they have millions of transactions that go through their system. And you're trying to do a ground to cloud migration and like none of your pipelines are optimized. It's shutting down the rest of your downstream systems. Like, it was crazy. I like became like an engineer by the end of that project. Like, but I have to go back to my pre-med background because I have the capacity to understand those type of processes and like, drive the ship. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think you bring up a really good point because like I've always told people, to be a good project manager, honestly, being too smart's sort of like a problem, right? But like being
Yeah.
slightly above average smart is like where you need to live, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
where you can
Hard.
hang in the conversation, right?
It's hard. Hard.
Oh my God. That's good. That's good stuff. I love it though. It is like it does bring out like project management does bring out these natural skills and the folks that I see like really succeed in the space are naturally empathetic and they understand like all the different stakeholders. They can talk to an engineer, they can talk to creative, they can do everything in between, or they are all of those things, right? Like they're sort
Yeah.
of technical, sort of creative, all those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun stuff. Oh, oh my God. All right, cool. Thanks for sharing that Project Zero with us.
Yeah.
Would love to get like more general, just like get some lessons from you about, project management, what makes a good project manager, all that kind of stuff. If you had to pick one skill, like one single skill, this is the hard one, right? Like, what would you say that project managers need more than anything? That single skill and why?
Curiosity. If you're not curious, you won't ask questions. You have to ask questions or else people won't tell
Love
you
that.
anything. You're a project
That's
manager.
right. That's right. Love that one. Love that one. How do you define success in a project? Right. And has that
Yeah.
changed for you since the beginning of your
Um,
career? And no.
I think it's the same. A project success is, hey, we want to do this. And then we did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think throughout the project, the how of it changes, of course. You get new
Yep.
variables. You have to, put that into consideration. And then this is where the OCD components, because you have to remind people of why we have these variables along the way. So this is where your communication gets into play because you're dealing with a lot of people who don't really care about what's going on, but they care, but they don't like that's. So you have to remind them of why we did certain things. And then they have to kind of like make sure they stay. It's like a dual responsibility, right? Like you have to make sure you're in pulse, but making sure that everybody else stays connected and feels like they're connected because you want to feel like you're a cohesive unit. And so this is where like the empathy gets into place because you need to know like, okay, Alex is like this. This is his personality. If I interact with him like this, he'll be satisfied. Okay, stakeholder B, he's like this, like, so that's what those one-on-one on. And like the way how I am, I lead with vulnerability. So like I'll joke around, I'll tell people like, yeah, I had a meltdown last week, bro. How's it going with you? Because I also had to keep in mind like how I look. So like if I'm just straight to business, people won't open up to me and they'll think like I'm an asshole because I'm stoic. I don't mean to be. It's just how been through stuff. So
Yeah.
I have to be vulnerable. I know that about myself. I have to be vulnerable so I become human to people. And then once I become human, then we can connect and then they open up as well. And then I'm like, okay. And then whenever something goes wrong in a project, I'm like, okay, so this stakeholder is going through this. So they're probably like this. Okay, so let me adjust things in a way that won't alarm them, but also keep things kind of real. Like this is the reality of the matter.
Yeah, I love that. I love that about you. And actually, like, I mean, it's something that like I value personally with how I lead as well. And I mean, it's almost like I call it like being a social chameleon almost, like just being able to like, code switch quickly depending on who you're talking to. It's a hard thing to learn
Yeah.
for sure. It's almost like, it comes from our childhoods, right? Like it's just
Yes.
like you learn how to do that stuff.
Mhm,
Love that.
mhm.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's think about like, people that are earlier in their careers. I want to talk about, how your career progressed, right? So you started at McKinsey, right? That's starting like pretty high up, right? And so, it's very interesting experience. Like talk about what you did between McKinsey and then starting your own consulting firm.
I was just letting myself be wild and free, and if I felt like I needed to move on from something and try something new and hone a new skill, I did it. I'm like, because, like, for example, one part in McKinsey, I switched over to just supporting the senior partner and partner group. So, like, I was doing like a lot of events and like, they're planning strategic events. So I was like in those rooms and seeing how those guys talk, which was a pretty privileged position to be in. And so going from that into like my own consulting firm, that position, I got a lot of soft skills with communication and strategy and how to move people and what makes an experience of everybody gathering together meaningful. How can you learn your audience? But I felt like my technical skills were slipping out because I'm quant. So I was like, you know what? I wanna let's look at the side hustle concept, right? So this was when the concept of side hustle was coming on. And then also COVID happened around the same time. So I'm home, right? So then I'm like, all right, let me get back to my quant stuff. And then I was just doing some BI work on the side. And then I was seeing how he was running his little business, right? Like at the time, it was like off Upwork. And so I was just absorbing it and just seeing how he interacts on a smaller scale. So that got me experience in small business, like small interactions with boutique consulting firms and maybe like a larger mid to size company. So then I filled in that area of experience on the side during COVID, because I was curious and I'm like, this is for the birds now. I need to get back to myself. I always get these pings like, get back to quant, get back to math, get back to all that stuff. So that's what happened. And so it kind of planted a seed like, I want this on my own too. If he can do it, I can do it too.
I love that. Love that. That's so cool. That's some great like career advice for anyone out there that like wants to, get into consulting. Just taking bite-sized pieces, right? Like going out and doing the side hustle for a little bit and getting the experience and seeing if it's right for you. And then like learning new skills, right? Beyond just project management. Even if you're a project management consultant, it's like, all right, what other skills, what other industry expertise, like that kind of stuff. How do you get it all? Right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
love
And
that.
I would say just follow your curiosity. That's like, and then when you
Love
feel
that.
like you're done and move on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. All
Hmm.
right, cool. Let's do a speed round. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a list of things and you can tell me the thing that you most gravitate towards, or you can say something else. All right.
Uh-huh.
And it's all project management oriented. All right. So
Okay.
Slack, email, text, or phone call.
Email.
Email. All right.
Yeah, I'll get to you when I get to you. I got focus, bro. There's a lot of stuff. I got to focus. I got to learn things.
Love it. Love it. Agile or waterfall.
In between.
Good. Yeah. Speed or perfection.
Speed.
Yeah. See, I could guess your answers, Jess. All right. What's your favorite PM tool?
Myself. Like, just kidding. I would say, honestly, like, I'm starting to like Notion. Notion, like, Brett forced me to learn Notion. Like, I'm starting to like Notion. It's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Cool. A lot of open AI there. All right. What's the worst
Yeah.
one on the planet? Worst one on the planet. Worst PM tool.
Oh, Microsoft Project. That shit sucks.
Oof. Well, I feel like you're only my second interview, and I feel like that's going to be the answer. Yeah. It served a purpose in a time. Now
Yeah, it
long
was
gonna be
like
used.
the
Yeah.
in between tool between Excel and these project management tools. Like, and they haven't updated it to like be more expansive. So I'm like, all right, bro. Like,
This is
okay.
bad. Like we're Microsoft, partners. So
I know, me too. And we're literally building out the law firm. We're like building out her Microsoft platform and Power Platform, everything. We love Microsoft, but y'all got to fix project.
yeah,
So
there you go.
customer feedback, we're service provider feedback, fix project Microsoft, and then you got it in the bag.
Love it. Love it. That's so good. All right. I'll send this to
God.
Microsoft after this. Um, all right. So if you could give one piece of advice to any PM early in their career, aside from curiosity, because you already gave that one out,
I did.
what would it be? Right.
Make sure you don't take shit from people that don't know what they're talking about. If someone's saying some bullshit, please politely correct them and make sure you keep your authority.
Love it. Love it. Man, that's not project management. That's just like life. That's like, hey, everyone, here's some life advice. Oh my God. That is so good. All right. One more question. If you could take on one huge project, unlimited funding, you could work with whoever you wanted to work with. What are you going to do? What are you going to fix? What are you going to build?
Alex, oh my God, I love these type of questions because the whole point is to have like seamless efficiency for you as a person, right? So essentially, you should have like one central mini command panel thing where you can just like, all right, this is what I have to do today to go, right? So you have like all your automatic workflows, like you have your follow ups, you have this, you have like your response to emails, you have the analysis done, you have your dashboard, just because you know your operating way, and then you're able to like translate that into like, I guess you say your digital trend, right? Your digital trend PM, right? And it's like your
Okay.
signature style of PM because everybody has their signature style. So it's like your signature style of PM. If someone wants to like hire you, that okay, this is my signature style. This is the price for the scope of work of how you want to leverage my digital PM. You know,
Okay.
so because
I
I took
like
so
that.
much time to develop that algorithm of myself, like
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And then, that would free you up to, this is how I think about AI too, right? Like that would just free you up to do all the human stuff that you want to do
to play golf with
instead of
my
all the dumb stuff.
clients.
Yeah.
I can play golf with
Yeah.
my clients, and we can talk
Yeah.
about life. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
'Cause that's
I
what's
love
really
it.
on everybody's mind anyways.
I love these questions. I like to ask these questions, and I have a friend that runs a podcast too that asks one of these like surprise questions that like is non-limiting. And honestly, there's some really good ideas that come out of them that could actually be things here soon. And I don't even think it would
Mhm.
cost a lot of money to like start building
No,
something like
it's so easy now. It's so freaking easy.
that. Yeah.
It's just people are so like this. They don't slow down. And so if you don't
Yeah.
slow down, if you don't fix your nervous system, bro, all this is gonna pass you by and you're gonna be like, what about me? Because you didn't slow down and take the time to smell the flowers.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Jess, thanks so much. How do people get in contact with you?
Oh, yes. You could email me at info@jcaresse.com. Or you could follow me on Instagram, Jessica_Caresse. Yeah, yeah, those two ways. Those two ways are the best way to get in contact with me.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jess. Really appreciate it. I think that's it. That was great.
Okay,
Thank you so
dokie.
much.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
and
It was fun.
thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you sign up, subscribe to Project Zero wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Alex.